This episode is proudly supported by Powerhouse Parramatta.
Powerhouse Parramatta will open in 2025. The new museum will be the largest in New South Wales and is determined to offer the very best in hospitality. Perhaps your business can be part of defining a food and beverage offering which is expected to cater to 2 million visitors a year. This incredible opportunity for operators includes retail food and beverage, in-house residential catering, events and other hospitality ventures, encapsulating the diversity of cuisines and cultures that make Western Sydney so exciting. Interested to learn more? Powerhouse invites food and beverage operators to a briefing on Tuesday, 8th of August. For more information and to register for this exclusive briefing, go to powerhouse.com.au.
The people come see and they say, look, you made my day, the food is delicious, but even not just about the food, it's also about the hospitality.
This is the Deep in the Weeds podcast. I'm Anthony Huckstep. In recent years, we've enjoyed the renaissance of Italian restaurants exploring the food of different regions of Italy, and we've also embraced the wine bar culture that blurs the lines between restaurant and bar. Today's guest is leading the team at a venue embracing both. Rosy Scatigna is the head chef of Bar Morris in Sydney. Rosie, how are you?
Hi, good. How are you, Huck?
Good. It's great to get you on the show. You're part of an exciting new offering in Sydney. How are things going?
Well, settling in. Everything is going as planned, and finally, everything is getting into places. So, very excited about this new chapter.
Tell us a little bit about Bar Morris.
So Bar Morris is a 40 seats wine bar, part of Hotel Morris. So the hotel has 82 rooms, is part of the Accor family, and is the second handwritten collection hotel open in Australia, after the first one in Perth. Bar Morris style is based on the Italian palazzo concept, so back in the 900, so it's like walking into a palazzo, like the translation of palazzo is like old building in Italian. It's like entering in an old building in Florence. It's the same feeling I had the first time I stepped into this beautiful venue. It was has been for ages the tallest hotel in Sydney, and then became a backpacker hotel, which is super fun because I remember when I first arrived here and the owner told me that there were like 25 bulk beds in our biggest room. So, and if you ever look at the hotel now, like the changes are unbelievable. So, yeah. Bar Morris is, as I said before, like a wine bar. So we have like lots of snacks on the menu and a few pasta courses and main course. But the brief was like casual Italian food. But the most important thing is like people coming here, listening to good music, having a glass of wine, and taste the delicious food, but like simple, easy, and casual. And yeah, the brief was like just have fun, guys, and is what we have actually here with the team and in the kitchen. So yeah, I'm pretty stoked about it.
What's it been like for you? Being part of the build up of this project. Has it had its challenges and sort of triumphs? What's it been like?
Yeah, well, 100%. Considering it's also my first head chef role, and I never done hotel, so I had some. It wasn't easy as a choice, especially at the beginning, because I didn't know what I was like stepping into, and I thought that, oh, Rosy, maybe it's too big for you, because of course it's not just the bar and like the restaurant per se, but it's also taking care of the operation of the hotel. So and also we postponed the opening. So the hotel was like meant to open in February, and we actually opened in June. So there were like lots of challenges, and to keep also the motivation up for the team, not just for like as HOD, but also for like all the guys that they were like following us and working us, and they needed like answer from us, right? So and also was yeah, as I said, my first head chef role. So from a leadership point of view, has been actually, yeah, challenging, and trying to find the best way to communicate with people, especially when you have a lot of challenges, right? But here we are now. So I mean, I think we all should be proud of what it is, and of course without passing through period of like, yeah, not very nice period, like you can't achieve very good stuff, right? So
Yeah.
it's always like this.
Australia has a rich cultural tradition with Italy, and a huge influence on the cuisine here. What's it like for you with your approach with this venue and sort of honouring traditional dishes from Italy, but in the context of Australia? What's your approach with that?
Yeah, like I didn't struggle like a lot with like writing the menu, because I try to put on the menu some classic Italian dishes, but tweaked a little bit in base of my experience back in London, in Italy, but also here in Australia at Aria Shell House. So I'm trying to have some like fun ingredients, and for example, we do, I don't know, it's easy to explain it through an example. I'm doing like a barbecue beef tongue, and Barbie is the favorite, probably Australian dish, if we want to call it dish, or like, it's not even a dish, it's more, I don't know, yeah, it's like super strong here, right? And I'm doing like a tongue alla pizzaiola, which is based on like an Italian classic pasta sauce, for example. So I'm trying to have fun a little bit, mixing technique and ingredients that they can be Australian or Italian or the opposite. So yeah.
Well, I want to explore sort of in greater detail what you're doing there at Bar Morris, but you mentioned you're from Italy. Take us back to when you were young. Where did you grow up in Italy, and what sort of role did food play?
I grew up in the south, in a region called Puglia, and exactly in a little town of 20,000 people called Ceglie Messapica. which is basically towards the middle of Puglia region. And food was the center of, and is still the center of everything. I remember the first question in the morning when I used to wake up, and my mom was like, "Rosie, what do you want to eat today?" And I was like, "Mom, it's just 7 a.m. I just need some time. I need a coffee first." But, just to give you like the context of everything. We are like, I come in from like a big family, so my mom has 6 siblings and my dad too. So lots of cousins. My grandma used to cook all Sunday lunch, like for like probably 25 people average every Sunday. And sometimes I talk to my friends and I say, "Oh, what kind of food like?" And she used to make like fresh pasta every Sunday for everyone. Like fresh pasta takes like an enormous amount of time, but she used to wake up at 5, doing her pasta, like, and smash the mise en place, like we would say in the kitchen, and just doing with a smile on her face and waiting for all of us to go there and taste all these delicious things. So yeah, everything it's around like food for us, especially in my family. Also, my mom, she's a great cook, not very classic because she likes to explore. I still remember like something like my auntie used to ask my mom, "Oh, what's ginger?" And she like ginger wasn't like something that we it was like not very used like often in the south of Italy, right? Like we're talking about probably 15 years ago, and she used ginger in like to cook her fish from ages without like traveling in Asia or doing a lot of experience overseas. So that's crazy, and I didn't cook at all until I was at uni. So that's crazy as well because I didn't touch a pan until I was like probably 20 years old. Because at home my mom is the queen of the kitchen and she's just at the helm.
Well, you originally started studying law, but tell us a bit about that period and why did you make that move into food?
So I studied law because I always like to study, to be fair, also now. And I just started and got a bachelor degree back in Turin where I studied. But I wasn't satisfied. I really developed like a passion for food, but just like eating food, and it was what back then what like made me like happy. And I remember I always like I started to cook for my friends where we lived like all together in a university residence. So I start like studying about how to make something better. It was not just like okay, it's a getaway with like we just go out and like someone cook for everyone else. It was like more than that for me. I wanted to improve my skills and try to make them happy because it's all about that. Like I would never cook for like just myself. That's the something very curious about me and my relation with food. But I love to cook always for like someone else that is not me. So it's all about making other people happy through food. So I decided to study in a nursery back in London. So I finished uni and I went there. And the most approachable job was like cooking for kids back then. So I said, why not? Yeah. And I started to cook in a nursery. The first one was for like around 15 kids. It was And then I step out in a 80 kids nursery, and I remember I struggled a lot because I didn't have any clue on how to cook for like 80 people, right? And I remember lots of allergies and intolerance. So I learned a lot actually about ordering and being fast, right? So work in a fast-paced environment. And then my mom said, Rosie, what are you doing? I mean, if we all, we all know, I think, that you wanna cook in your life. And even if my parents at the beginning, they weren't actually super happy of me changing career, imagine having a daughter that she's a lawyer. I know that it's like not, I don't agree with that, but imagine parents in the south of Italy and they want for you the best. And of course, the kitchen career is not an easy one, right? So my mom used to say, yeah, why don't do just an office job? But then at the end, she was the first one to actually push me towards what I really wanted to do. And they helped me a lot because they gave me the chance to attend probably the best cookery school back in Italy. And I'm really, really super grateful for this, because without them, I couldn't be here today where I am. And that's where I started to attend Alma, which is one of the best school in Italy, probably in Europe, which helped me a lot, and where I learned lots of stuff, but especially helped me because I cook from 7 years now. And usually a chef starts the career in the kitchen when like 16 years old, let's say. So I started pretty late, and this school helped me like cutting like lots of years of and so just brought me where I am now.
You've had some extraordinary experiences working at venues in Italy and in the UK. What's been the real sort of key venues and people that you've worked at as you built your career?
I think the key was actually here in Australia at Aria, when I knew, of course, Joel Bickford, which was the head chef back then, and I started working there. And then I got promoted after 1.5 years at sous chef, and that was like, everything changed with that promotion, I think. But saying that doesn't mean that all the experience that I built before that, like it was like even that experience that I had in the UK was like very important to me, because of course coming here and you have in your CV like 2 years in a 2 Michelin star, it's different, right? And also in the UK, in Marlow, like I worked very, very hard for 2 years, probably 80 hours a week. And I learned not a lot about the techniques, because it wasn't too much about cooking, but it was too much about the resilience and being in a very hard like environment where all alpha males. I don't know. I don't wanna do a question of gender, but it was very hard, of course, to prove myself back then. But I was strong, and so I learned a lot about cooking in the kitchen with a big brigade as well.
What lured you to Australia? Tell us about that move and that period of time.
Well, I came here for like doing an experience with my ex-partner, and we wanted both to come in Sydney from ages since we were at uni. but we didn't have the financial support to do so. So at some point, I spent like a few years in London, and I told myself, what's the next step? And Australia, for European people, is always like, Australia is like the goal. I don't know how to explain it, but it's like nice weather, super beautiful landscapes, nice city that you can, like, very livable city. It's not like living in London, because like living in Sydney is very different. You still can have like a nice career, but you have your free time and a nice salary. You can save money, but you can have fun at the same time. And yeah, for me, the weather is the key, because I grew up in the southern Italy, always very warm, even in winter. So the UK hasn't been like very nice for this like point, because the weather, of course, we all know about it. The London weather, always rainy, and I love the sun, I love summer. So yeah, that was one of the strongest reason why I came here.
You mentioned the difference with the lifestyle and the amazing weather that we do have here in Australia, but how different were the kitchens in Australia and working in them compared to what you're used to in the Michelin star restaurants?
It's very different, yeah. So here there's more attention to the employee itself, like yeah. Um, but I think the food back in Europe is probably 5 or 6 years. Yeah, here we are a little bit behind on this, on like the developing of the food and what's trendy. Just like if you see what's happening in the Nordics or like Copenhagen, it's crazy. Like they just are on another level, I think. But yeah, the main difference, I think, I would say every time that I hear someone going like from Australia to the UK, for example, to work, I'm like, I don't know, why do you do that? I mean, you have lots to learn, of course, but here it's much more relaxed, and you can do it even better if you are in a good state of mind. I'm not saying that you don't have to do sacrifice, and like everyone does it if you want to achieve good stuff, right? But here it's much more enjoyable, and yeah, so I think that's the main difference.
You mentioned working with Joel Bigford at ARIA, and you also worked with him at the Shellhouse Group as well. But you mentioned that your time in ARIA, how it sort of was quite pivotal for you. What were those changes, and how did they impact on you and moving forward with your career?
Yeah, so well, I started as a CDP, and then I really have a passion for pastry from like since day one, since I started cooking. And at some point I've been moved there at ARIA in the pastry section, I remember, and he asked me to come with ideas for the new menu, for the new dessert menu. And I started like studying a lot. I remember going back home after my shift and studying until probably like 3 or 4 a.m. in the morning, just because I wanted to like show him that I was capable of doing that. And I think that was the big change for me. He always like believed in my skills and my personality. So I got the promotion after like taking care of the whole pastry section after like few months. And yeah, that was like the crucial point, let's say, that changes all my perspective. And I thought, oh yeah, I mean, I can do that, right? And one of my goal like has been from forever to be like head chef before 30. I don't know if it's right or wrong, but this pushed me always to do better and better and to find always the new challenge. So also Shell House was like great because gave me the chance to experience an opening, and opening are like not easy at all, right? So we did that. I did that with Joel and Aaron Ward as well. And all these other personality, like super strong personality in the hospitality that so from who I learned like a lot, and this gave me also the push to accept this role as head chef for a new opening, which has been very hard. I don't know, like I need to be honest, in the first month. But yeah, everyone can do it, right? I believe it's just about attitude and not a lot about the skill sets that you have. So if you have determination and you know what you want, of course it's also about luck and all other stuff in life, but attitude is a lot for me and helped me a lot in my career.
You've been doing amazing things, even though you just sort of got started with Bar Morris there. Mm-hmm. Let's talk a little bit about your food. Is there a couple of dishes that you could tell us about that sort of exemplifies what you're doing there?
Yeah, I think one which I'm like getting like super nice feedback, and was also one that I was personally the most curious of, is the madeleine. We have like a savory madeleine on the menu. It is one of our snack, and so madeleine, the classic French pastry, is one of my favorite. Actually, let's say dessert petit four. Like personally, like they are my favorite, and so I thought, but why don't we do it like in a savory version? So instead of sugar, I use a lot of Parmigiano and some preserved lemon through the sponge, and then the madeleine is filled with an nduja emulsion and some thinly sliced guanciale, and on top is dusted with a smoked tomato powder. And at the beginning I was like, oh, this can be super good or can be absolutely a nightmare. And I remember myself crying after like a shift where I tried to do this madeleine at the beginning when I was developing the menu, probably 8 times in like 2 hours, and I couldn't get it right. And I was like, oh my god, this is supposed to be my signature dish, and people, what are they gonna think? And then little by little I actually found a nice recipe, and yeah, and it's crazy because sometimes I have people coming here, Bar Morris, just for the madeleine. I'm like, that's good, I'm super happy about it. So this is one, and another dish which is like super nice is the spaghettone. I actually get the pasta from a small family business in Puglia, so where I come from, and it's a semola spaghettone seasoned with a celeriac puree, a bay leaf oil, and some confit pine mushroom, and for the crunchy part some hazelnut. So it's not like a classic Italian pasta sauce, but yeah, that's what I like, to experiment with the food and try to push people to to eat new stuff. And they might think, oh well, what it like, I don't know, for the madeleine, for example, I never had a savory madeleine, but then they taste it and it's super nice and an explosion of flavor. So it's curious and it's fun, and that's what I like about food at the end of the day.
You spoke so beautifully about your mother and grandmother's foods. Do any of their recipes feature on the menu?
Oh, definitely, yeah. We have our pan focaccia, which is a cross between a classic Italian focaccia and a fluffy bread, which is my grandma recipe. Is made with spelt flour, 40% spelt flour, and we fold it for 6 times in a 6 hour time, so from the start to finish, and then it's just brushed with some really aromatic garlic oil made in house. My grandma used to bake it in the wood fire oven, so it was like even more tasty than mine. But yeah, that's one of the recipe. And now, like, I'm doing a mussel dish, which I used to eat all the time back home. So yeah, a lot of things remind me of course, my heritage and my time with them. Even if I wasn't cooking, but it just like sometimes it's just watching them, and yeah.
Well, I know you've just started the new role and sinking your teeth in at the moment, but what do you love about what you do?
Well, I love the fact that, as I said before, that people come here and they say, look, you made my day, the food is delicious, but even not just about the food, is also about the hospitality, and that we source, right? And it's also about like managing different outlets. I need to be honest. I like to be a leader, and I hope the guy in my team can recognize me as one, right? And I always want to learn, and this is the perfect job to be into. There's a lot of challenges, but for example, I'm here like to learn. I still have a lot to learn, so it's not a dull job, let's say. It's always put you in a situation where you need to face challenges, or you need to solve some issues. Even in service, you need to have you need to have you need to be very good in a problem solving situation, right? So it's always it's super like adrenaline.
Well, it's amazing what you're creating there, and an honour to catch up with you today to hear a part of your story, Rosie. Look forward to hearing so much more. Please keep in touch, and we'll catch up again soon.
Thank you so much, Ask. Thanks for having me.
This is the Deep in the Weeds podcast. I'm Anthony Huckstep. Stay tuned as we take a deep dive into the lives of the incredible people who ply their trade in the food and hospitality sector. Special thanks to executive producer Rob Locke for making this all happen. Follow us on Instagram at Deep in the Weeds Podcast, or email us at podcast@deepintheweeds.com.au, and be well.